Please welcome to the stage gubernatorial candidate Tim Michels.
Thank you. Mark, how are you? Thank you. Thank you.
Come on over.
Just want to go across there, honey?
Let me pull this chair over here. Okay.
No,
all right, good. I thought we maybe have another guest. It's okay.
It wouldn't be fair, 2-on-1, Mark.
Well, Mr. Michels, good to see you again.
It's great to be here.
Yeah, we had a chance to chat just a couple weeks after you had announced your intention to run for governor, and good to see you again.
Yeah.
Looking good.
Feels good. We're working hard. People say, how do you do it? You just shift into a higher gear, and we're shifted into the highest gear, whatever that is, 4th or 5th gear. But working very hard. Between Friday, Saturday, we had 10 stops all over the state, headed up to Marshfield and Stevens Point after this, and then coming back this evening as well. So,
wow, yeah. That's a lot of traveling.
Love it. My wife, who you just saw and kind of met, we all say hi to everybody. She's with me almost all the time on the campaign trail. Makes it a lot easier. And this summer, my son and daughter, we have 3 kids, boy, girl, boy, but my 2 our 2 college-age kids were with us on the campaign trail as well. And it's a lot of fun. It was the greatest internship they could possibly hope for. They sat in meetings like when we met.
Met your daughter, yeah.
I mean, tremendous insight into government, how counties work, how they interact with state government, and they learned a lot. So,
you know, you have been an incredibly successful business person. Done a lot of things, built a lot of things. But now, public service. Why public service, and why now?
Yeah, great question. I've served my entire life. 12 years in the Army on active duty as an airborne ranger. Served the soldiers that I worked with, served the country, and 25 years standing shoulder to shoulder with my brothers. Unfortunately, my dad died. Our dad died 25 years ago, and right after I got out of the Army. And Michels had a few hundred employees. My brothers and I have grown the company over the past 25 years, and today we employ over 8,000 people. And that doesn't happen by being an authoritarian. We serve, servant leader, we serve the people that we work with. And we provide them with great jobs, a great culture, the tools to be successful, great health care, great benefits. And what do I mean by that? I mean, you're all smart people, you're numbers people. Our average labor wage, annual wage at Michels is $97,500. So you can make a great living working in the trades today.
A lot of folks are wondering if you have any applications available we can fill out.
Yeah, I say that out on the stump, and I tell a joke. I think I saw a couple of young men just run out back and get on a line. I'll segue real quick into an education initiative of mine. We're very good in Wisconsin at building things with our hands, tool and die, machine shop, all that type of thing. So I want to make sure that we have more vocational tech training for young men and women. One of the problems that I believe we have is in high school, students are told you have to go to a 4-year college. You have to get a degree in something. And there's nothing wrong with going into the trades and becoming a welder or a lineman or a machinist and making $97,000 plus, great health care, great benefits on top of that. It's good for our Wisconsin economy. It's been part of the fabric of our economy for 150 plus years now. It's what we do well. So I want to make sure we have more young men and women that are comfortable and want to go into those types of trades. It's good for manufacturers, it's good for employers, it's good for our Wisconsin economy, it's good for counties as well. Because you can manufacture stuff, I'll call it parts or bits and pieces that go into aircraft or automobiles. I mean, you can do that in Wood County as easily as you can in Waukesha County. I
think you're going to have a willing partner with Speaker Voss on this. He's spoken many times about not 4-year college is not for everyone. It may be for a lot of folks, but not for everyone. Trades are a great option.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's,
then you don't have a lot of tuition debt when you come out of school as well. So it's a win-win-win. You have a great job, can support your family, feel good about the work that you do, no tuition debt, And again, it helps the Wisconsin economy.
Well, I don't know. Do we need to care about tuition debt anymore? I'm not sure about this what we're doing with this policy. But so increase opportunities for the trades. That's one big thing you'd like to accomplish as governor. What are a couple other things you'd like to? Some of the other reasons you ran that you want to accomplish?
Yeah, so from my very first day in office to my very last day in office, my priority will always be jobs and the economy. I want to stand up. I want to be a leader, a governor for the hardworking men and women in Wisconsin. And I'm not just a candidate up here talking about it. I've done it. We've created thousands of jobs, thousands of union jobs, thousands of non-union jobs. And I'm a businessman. I'm not a politician. I know how to read a balance sheet. I know how to read an income statement. I understand macroeconomics. I understand microeconomics. I understand what it takes to have an economy, as we used to say in the military, cooking on jet fuel. The economy is not awful right now. I'll call it a little bit of a sugar high on all the stimulus dollars that came in, trillions of dollars. Of course, the byproduct of that everybody should have known is you're going to have inflation. Inflation is going to be the byproduct of that. And it's a huge issue everywhere I go throughout the state. From Kenosha to Superior, from Sheboygan to La Crosse, people are concerned about inflation. They have less money in their pockets. We have 8.3% inflation, and they're seeing it at the pump. They saw it certainly at the pump a couple of months ago when we had $5 gas. They're seeing it at the grocery store today. Everybody that's in business is seeing their supply chain costs go way up. So I'm going to do everything I can as a governor. It's more of a federal issue, but I'm going to do everything I can to get inflation down and put more money back in the pockets of the hardworking, tax-paying, law-abiding citizens of Wisconsin. That's who I want to serve. That's what this is all about, is serving the people of Wisconsin. It would be a great honor to do that. I'm humbled that I'm even sitting here today in front of all of these government leaders, and I look forward to working together with all levels of government. Together, we can make this state better. Together, we will make this state better. And on that note, I'll say that I know that the best decisions are made at the local level. You're ingrained in the fabric of your communities, of your counties. You know what's important. You know where the priorities are. I am so much more comfortable having you make decisions with our tax dollars. You're going to make a wiser decision, a more efficient decision, a more cost-effective decision down at the county level.
If I can read between the lines, I think what you're saying is county government's the best level of government. Is that what I'm hearing? It's number one.
You know what? I'm going to sign up for that. So at least today in this room, right?
So on the campaign trail, what are you hearing most? What kind of issues or things rise up more than others?
Yeah, it's a very clear answer because I'm hearing it over and over and over. Number one is crime. People are very frustrated about crime in their communities. And I'm not just talking about Milwaukee. I talked about Superior, Green Bay, Wausau. People are concerned about crime. We were in Green Bay last night. We had a great rally before the Packer game. Had, I think, about 2,300 people that showed up. We weren't competing with the Packers. We knew we had to be done well before kickoff. But somebody came up and they said, "Hey, I work at a hospital, and a nurse was pistol whipped in the parking lot at the hospital." And it was very traumatic emotionally for everybody at the hospital. So they're just a little anecdotal right there of crime. But people are very concerned about crime everywhere. In Milwaukee, we have the fourth highest murder rate in the country, here in Milwaukee. I spend a lot of time in Milwaukee, on the north side, on the south side, in the inner city. And political pundits, they say, Tim, that's not a good place to get votes. I say, you know what, I'm not doing this just for votes. I'm doing this because that's how I want to lead as governor. No state can be the greatest state that it can be if its biggest city is full of problems. Milwaukee has problems. I know in the past people have said Republicans say that Milwaukee is the problem. I don't think that's the case at all. I think Milwaukee has a problem and it can be solved. We can do better. And I will work with anybody to make Milwaukee better, to make the state better. I'll work with Democrats. I'll work with the Democratic Mayor, Cavalier Johnson. I'll work with Democratic county executive, David Crowley. Is he here, by the way? I'd like to meet him. I've never met him.
He was here early.
Maybe we'll bump into him later.
Yeah.
I'll work with anybody to solve problems. Those people in the inner city are the biggest victims of these crimes that I'm talking about. And boy, I'll tell you, they are really ready for something different, for change to happen. So everybody in law enforcement is going to know that the governor himself wore a uniform, albeit a military uniform, for 12 years, but they're going to know that I back the blue. I am 100% polar opposite of this defund the police movement of cops are bad. What do I mean by that? You know, Barbara's brother, who walked across the stage with me a few minutes ago, her brother's a cop. He's in law enforcement, and he tells me the stories. He said, you know, Tim, I used to go to my backyard neighborhood barbecue, and neighbors would be like, hey, Greg, come on in, have a beer, we back the blue, tell us some stories. He said a couple of summers ago, it all changed. It was, hey, Greg, come on in, we're not so sure we're supposed to like cops anymore. We saw that happening all across America. And the byproduct of that is we are at a 30-year high now for crime in Wisconsin. Violent crime, murder, assault are all at a 30-year high. And I believe it's a byproduct of the defund the police movement, and I believe one of the big reasons is culturally we've lost respect for the law. And maybe more importantly, the bad guys, if you will, they become emboldened. I don't know if everybody's heard the story about the Kia boys. There's one car being stolen every hour, every day, 365 days a year in the city of Milwaukee. And a journalist went out and talked to these young guys, they're like 15 years old, and said, why are you doing this? They said, because nothing will happen to us. And it's right, they're being released immediately. So the bad guys need to know that there are going to be consequences for committing crime. And they're going to know that. I'm going to work intimately with law enforcement. We're going to make sure that once they are arrested, that they're not out on low to no bail the very next day. I'm saying to the bad guys in Wisconsin, if you're not willing to do the time, then don't do the crime. Who does that benefit? That benefits the 99+% of people in Wisconsin who are hardworking, who are tax-paying, who are law-abiding. They want less crime in Wisconsin, and I'm going to do everything I can to reduce crime.
Okay, wow. So on the campaign trail, you're hearing a lot about crime. What are you hearing anything that you were surprised at? Anything that on the campaign or issues that came up that you said, didn't know that was an issue?
I think an interesting thing is, I mentioned earlier we're a union employer. We also employ a lot of non-union folks as well. But I get people that come up to me, men and women. I'll just stereotype for this story and say it's a guy, and he's got the beard, and he's a guy that puts on steel-toe boots every morning. His alarm goes off at 4:45. He says, Tim, you know what? All the guys at work are going to vote for you. They're tired. They're tired of what's going on. They've been trained to vote their entire life. They've been trained to, go to the polls, and they've been told to vote for Democrats. And they said, I just feel like the Democratic Party has left me. It's all about the social issues now. Here's what I want to do, Tim. I want to go to work. I want to raise my family. Maybe I go to church on Sunday. I want to go to my kid's ball game. That's what's important to me. And I believe that's why we are going to win in November. People are tired of their job or their kid's school being a social petri dish. They just want a governor and a state government and county government to just keep things running as they should and let them do their job. Their job meaning going to work, raising their family, being a productive member of their community. That's what people want. So I think why that was stunning or shocking is it's an indicator of the level of frustration that I'm seeing in the voters out there, that I'm seeing in the people of Wisconsin. So we are at a unique crossroads in Wisconsin. A lot of it was COVID generated. What I mean by a lot of it was, all the big changes that happened throughout the country, socially and economically. And I think people say, I was better off 3 years ago, before COVID. I was better off before all these movements that happened. I want to get back to that. I liked life in America. America's not perfect, but it's the greatest country in the history of the world. And the American dream is still alive here.
So, Tim, you have a lot of military experience, leadership experience, business leadership experience. How would you describe your leadership style or how you approach leadership?
You have to be a great listener. You need to get people together that are smarter than you. My dad taught my brothers and I something many years ago when we were teenagers working at the business. He said two things. Number one, don't let the attorneys or the accountants run your business. So any attorneys or accountants out there, I apologize. But number two, he said, surround yourself with good people and great things will happen. And that's what we've done. My brothers and I don't take credit for growing Michels from a few hundred to 8,000. That was an effort of so many people, thousands of people, great leaders, all of us working together. And that's the way I'm going to govern as well. In my first debate that I had back in the primary, I got asked a question about tax reform. And I said, I don't have the answer to that. I'm going to bring the smart people in a room. We're going to come in and we're going to solve that. And the hard thing about being governor is you have to be an expert at everything. You have to be an expert at everything from tax reform to health care to the National Guard to education. The list goes on and on and on. But there's people out there. There's people that are experts at what they do. Bring them in, listen to them. You don't have to take their advice, but you should certainly listen to their advice. That's what I'm going to do as governor. I'm going to put together a great cabinet. I'm going to put together the best administration that I possibly can. I'm going to listen and I'm going to lead. And what it really comes down to in leadership, I believe, is making the tough decisions, making the difficult decisions. And all of you out here know that. I know when you go to your county board meetings, if it was easy, it probably would have been solved before it got to your level. But when it's tough, when somebody wants to expand their business and there's a lot of community outcry about that, that's where you have to make the tough decision. I've made tough decisions my whole life. I'm looking forward to that. I embrace that opportunity to lead this state.
Well, along those lines, just to put into your mixing bowl of information, county government has all the answers. We got it all. But Ben, we're happy to share. What do you, if you have any spare time, what do you like to do?
I love spending time with my wife. Our kids are all gone now. We're empty nesters. Just happened a year ago. We weren't sure what that was going to be like, but it's been great. We keep busy. We're certainly busy now, that's for sure. But I do like to exercise. It keeps me sane in this crazy campaign process. So I get up early and I try and work out 2 or 3 or 4 days a week. And it's nothing fancy. I just run and try and lift a little weights or something like that. But makes me feel good. I think exercise is the fountain of youth. So I'm actually 87 years old.
You were looking mighty good for 87. I'll tell you that. That's good. Tim, if you were going to leave our county family group with 1 or 2 final thoughts, what would you like to share with them?
Well, I want 2 things. I want to say thank you. Thank you for all you do. It's not easy. I get it. I'm sure that you put as much emotional energy into what you do as a governor does. I don't think it's harder at the top of the state level. I don't think it's easier at the county level. Thank you for what you do. You are such an important part of the fabric of this state, of your communities. That's very special. I also say what I opened with. I truly believe in my heart, it's accurate that the best decisions are made at the local level. I want to empower you more. You know your communities best. You know what works, what doesn't work. You know how to get things done. And you're probably going to be much more frugal and efficient with the taxpayers' money than is happening currently at the state level. Like I said, I'm a businessman. We have 16 operating divisions at Michels Corporation. And every month, we do a formal review of all 16 operating divisions. Every quarter, we do a deep dive on every single one of those operating divisions. And we're looking for efficiencies. We're looking how to do a better job, how to better service our customers. And I'm going to do that with all the government agencies as well. I'm going to bring them in. I'm going to say, hey, what's your mission statement? What is your mission? What's your employee count? What's your budget? What's the return on investment? How are you serving your customers better? Where could you serve your customers better? And the customers are businesses and taxpayers. And I don't know if anybody's asking them those types of questions, but I've done it my entire life. I'm going to do that. We are going to make state government more efficient. Part of that equation is to power down to the county level and the municipalities. I believe that that's how we will provide the greatest service to our customers, all of ours, and that's the people of Wisconsin.
Ladies and gentlemen, Republican candidate for governor, Tim Michels. Thank you, Tim. Thank you. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Great.